Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to start hydrogen secretion and bicarbonate reduction from the kidney and primary active transport of hydrogen. Beginning in the late distal tubule, continuing through the remainder of the tubular system, occurs at the luminal membrane of the tubular cells. We are talking about the tubular means ascending tubule, descending tubule, and loop of tubule. Occurs at the luminal membrane of the tubular cells, transported directly by a specific protein, hydrogen transporting ATPase proton pump. So first we see the primary active transport. On your left hand side over here is a renal interstitial fluid, means the fluid present in the kidney cells, and then this is a tubule, tubular cells. Chlorine will enter and bicarbonate will come out with, and hydrogen will separate it and enter into the tubular lumen from where it will be aspirated out. For this process, we call it proton pump. You need energy. This energy is acquired by ATPs, adenyl triphosphates. This hydrogen will combine with the SCO3 and form a carbonic anhydrase. This is alkaline in nature. And then again it will be break down into water and carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide will be moved towards the interstitial tissue, from where the granules will collect this carbon dioxide and provide deoxygenated blood to the lungs for the purification. So this is complete phenomena. Hydrogen secretion through proton pump accounts for only about 5% of the total hydrogen ion secreted. Because hydrogen we need in our body also, because our stomach secretes from the fat itself HCl. So chlorine will combine with H, then it will convert into HCl. So HCl is required for many functions in the body. Important in forming a maxillary acidic urine, maximally acidic urine. If hydrogen ions are more, then urine is acidic in nature, because hydrogen is a positive ion. Hydrogen ion concentration can be increased as much as 900-fold in connecting tubules. And why? Decrease the pH of the tubular fluid to about 4.5, which is the lower limit of the pH that can be achieved in normal kidney. So kidney will adjust the pH of your urine, and if it is more hydrogen is there, then that urine will become acidic in nature. So to adjust that, that hydrogen has been excreted out through the urine. Then we have the fourth thing, that is the ammonia buffer system. Excretion of the excess hydrogen ion, generation of a new bicarbonate, means one side hydrogen ions are removed to lower the acidity of your urine, and another side there is a new bicarbonate formation which is alkaline in nature, and that also help in decreasing the pH towards alkalinity. Production and secretion of ammonia ions NH4 by proximal tubules. If this happens in the proximal tubules, not in the distal tubules, at the start of the tubules. Renal interstitial fluids are there, proximal tubule cells, and then tubular lumen. Glutamate comes from both sides, tubular lumen as well as renal interstitial fluid. And then it will break down into bicarbonate and 2NH4. Then 2NH4 will convert into NH4, and NH4 will combine with chlorine, makes the ammonium chloride. So this is a cycle. Ammonia buffer system continue. For each molecule of the glutamine metabolized, two NH ions are secreted into the urine as shown in the figure. Two bicarbonate ions are reabsorbed into the blood. The bicarbonate generated by the process constitute a new bicarbonate. Buffering of the hydrogen and secretion by the ammonia. Ammonia in the collecting tubule. Again, there are three portions. One is the renal interstitial tissue, means renal tissue. Along with there is a collecting tubule cells, and then tubular lumen. Lumen is a narrow passage through which the urine will comes out. Here also carbonic acid take one hydrogen, and sorry, carbon dioxide will combine with the water, and water will convert into carbonic anhydrase, and again the carbonic anhydrase will break down and hydrogen will escalate down into the lumen, and it will form the NH. From NH3 it will form NH4. Then it will combine with the chlorine outside the tubular lumen and make a ammonium chloride. Again, for this whole process we require ATPs, adenine triphosphate energy. Ammonia buffer system. The renal ammonia buffer system is subject to physiological control. So this formation of ammonia buffer is helping out the physiological control of the pH. Increase in extracellular fluid hydrogen ions concentrated stimulate renal glutamate metabolism. As the concentration of hydrogen ions are increased in extracellular fluid, then there is generation of the renal glutamate metabolism. Increasing the formation of ammonia and new bicarbonate to be used in the hydrogen ion buffering. Decrease in hydrogen ion concentration has opposite effect. If there is a decrease in the hydrogen ion, means the urine is converted into alkalinity. Then what happens with chronic acidosis? The domain mechanism by which acid is eliminated of ammonia. From the ammonia, the acid is excluded, eliminated, and it will move towards the alkalinity. The most important mechanism of generating new bicarbonate during chronic acidosis. So acidosis can be controlled by the phenomena of converting or producing the bicarbonate. Potassium reabsorption and secretion, this also takes place in the kidney, as shown the Bowman capsule, 756 milliequivalent per day, 180 liter urine is excreted per day into 4.2 milliequivalent per liter. This is happening in the Bowman capsule. But if you come to the proximal end, what happens? 65%. It means 491 milli equivalent per day urine is excreted from here, and on proximal end 204 milli equivalent or 27% per day. 4% 31 milli equivalent per day at the renal tubule. This is the renal tubules. And in tubule there is 12% 92 milli equivalent per day. This is the ratio of the urine and the electrolytes concentration in the whole tubule, renal tubule. Mechanism of potassium secretion, sodium. What we have talked about, this is all potassium, right? Mechanism of potassium secretion is sodium reabsorption by the principal cell of the late distal and collecting tubule. So here you see the renal interstitial tissue, then principal cells, then tubular. Sodium is there, potassium is there. Potassium is removed from the tubule into the tubular lumen. Sodium entered towards the renal interstitial fluid and take the potassium inside the principal cells, and there is a electrical current of 0 millivolt at the renal interstitial tissue, but minus 70 millivolt at principal cell, and in tubular minus 50 millivolt. In the same way, kidney also controls the excretion of calcium. Calcium is both filtered and reabsorbed in the kidney, but not secreted. It's calcium is not thrown out from the through the urine, but it is reabsorbed in the kidney. Only about 50% of the plasma calcium is ionized, with the remainder being bound to the plasma protein. Calcium excretion is adjusted to meet the body needs because body requires calcium for the muscles movement, for the neuronal firing, and this calcium is controlled by four glands which are situated anterior to your neck behind the thyroid gland is known as parathyroid gland. Increase calcium reabsorption in the thick ascending loop of the renal and distal tubule and reduce urinary excretion of the calcium. So calcium is not excreted through the urine. An overview of the urine formation. Now we can see how urine is formation. There are certain processes. Number one, filtration. Number two, water reabsorption. Number three, solute reabsorption. Solute means sodium, potassium, magnesium. This is all reabsorbed or calcium. Then secretion of the waste. Then variation rates. With different rates, these things are secreted. So first we have a glomerulus Bowman capsule. After that, the proximal convoluted tubule as shown in the figure. Then we have got a loop of Henle. Then we have got a distal convoluted tubule. Then we have got the collecting duct which open into the urinary bladder. So this is figure very important. Remember this figure. Urine concentration and dilution. Importance. Maintenance of water balance in the body. When there is excess water in the body, the kidney excretes urine with an osmolarity as low as 50 milliosmol per liter. When there is a deficiency of water, the kidney can excrete urine with a concentration of about 1200 to 1400 milliosmol per liter. The basic requirement for forming concentration of the dilution of the diluted urine, the controlled secretion of antidiuretic hormone ADH, regulate the permeability of the distal tubule and collecting duct to water. Means there is a role of a hormone which is known as antidiuretic hormone, which regulates the secretion of the urine and collection of the urine. A high osmolarity of renal medullary interstitial fluid provide the osmotic gradients necessary for water reabsorption to occur in the presence of high level of ADH. ADH is also there and osmolarity is also increased due to the osmotic gradient concentration. Here is a figure. Hydro hyperosmotic gradient in the renal medulla interstitium. So this figure shows that at cortex side the concentration is 300, but in medulla side the concentration is 1200. Countercurrent multiplication and concentration of the urine. Urine is concentrated at different concentration at different level. If you see the proximal end, there is a concentration of 300. It will go little below of that proximal end, near in between the loop of Henle, there is a 900 milliosmol, and if you will go to the loop of Henle, the concentration, the descending limbs permeable to water, impermeable to solutes. 1200, then you go up towards the distal tubule, thick ascending limbs, impermeable to water and active solute transport. Here there is an exchange of sodium and chlorine. Either it will go out of the tubule into the interstitial tissues, and at the distal end it's 100 is less reabsorption. Counter current exchange in the vasa recta preserve hyperosmolarity of the renal medulla. The vasa recta trap salts and urea within the interstitial fluid but transport water out of the renal medulla. This is very simple. Effect of antidiuretic hormone on the distal collecting duct and collecting duct. The figures are shown over here. The role of ADH. What is the role of this hormone? Make the wall of the collecting duct more permeable to water mechanism. Means it will allow ADH. The water can be moved from inside to outside and outside to inside. Reabsorption means it is taken from the tubules into the interstitial tissue. Obligatory water reabsorption using sodium in solutes. Water follows solute to the interstitial fluid. Water moves with the solute, that is the sodium. Transcellular and paracellular part, largely influenced by the sodium reabsorption. As the sodium reabsorbs, the water is also reabsorbed. Here is the left side is a lumen which has a water, obligatory water reabsorption phenomenon. Then we have got a proximal tubular cells which has a osmosis on the basis of water concentration. And there is a sodium also, then interstitial fluid is there. So osmosis takes place and then sodium will come out of the proximal tubular cells into the interstitial fluid, means the fluid present in the interstitial cells. We call it hydrostatic pressure. One is osmotic pressure. So there are two types of pressure, hydrostatic, osmotic. Water reabsorption. Recirculatively water reabsorbed occur mostly in the collecting duct through the water pools channels regulated by the ADH. Then facultative water reabsorption takes place from the lumen. Water enter into the distal tubules and in the presence of the ATP, adenine triphosphate cyclic AMP, increase permeability of the lumen membrane to water by inserting new water channels. Vasopressin, peritubular capillary plasma. Vasopressin is also an hormone secreted from the posterior lobe of the pituitary. It also plays a role in converting ATP to cyclic AMP. Triphosphate is converted into monophosphate. And diphosphate is used over there for the energy process. So this is all about today, and we will start for next lecture in topic